Will the residents of Leon Valley throw the tyrants out at the polls today? Hundreds of Leon Valley residents stood up to the tyranny last fall. They fearlessly signed their name on recall petitions to remove two councilwomen who are part of Joe Salvaggio's political establishment, Donna Charles and Monica Alcocer.
So you're going to turn the camera off and step outside?
The other officer said it was okay.
We're allowed to, Todd.
The supervisor said.
He's not here.
The other officer?
Joel already told him?
Yep,
No, the other officer.
as long as we leave the opening.
Can y'all not block the entrance, please? Go ahead.
So I don't know if you're able to just sign this.
I'd like to be able to hear.
I'll initial off that I've received it.
Okay.
The Leon Valley City Charter requires the recall election to be held on the next election date, but the City Council wouldn't call the election.
Yes.
I would like to make a motion that we pass, that we approve item 7.8 as written.
Okay. And we need a second.
So, Mr. Erkan, per our charter, it says that we must add these to the ballot. Is that correct?
That is
For the
correct.
election?
That's correct.
I would like to discuss this further. Why can I not get a second to follow the charter? Why is everybody... I understand that there is a team at work here of council members that are all on one side, and I'm the lone council member on the other side. But I just find it very disheartening that you've continue to refuse to listen to the voice of the citizens of the city.
Okay. Ms. Charles, do you have something to add?
I would agree with calling the general election, but may I debate each of the allegation points prior to making a decision whether to second it or not?
Well, we have to have a motion and a second, and then we have discussion. So if we don't have a second, we can't have discussion. That's my...
Under Robert's rules, that is
Yes.
correct, Mayor.
Mm-hmm. So we need a second in order to have discussion.
May I be excused? I think this is done and over.
The Leon Valley residents followed up with a lawsuit, and the election was finally set for today, May 2nd. And it's not just the recall. Josh Stevens is challenging Salvaggio insider Councilwoman Catherine Rodriguez. If all goes well at the polls, City Manager Kelly Kunstler and Police Chief Joe Salvaggio could be ousted from Leon Valley.
What are you hearing when you were circulating this petition? What were you hearing from people that signed it?
So there's a lot of concerns from people living in the city related to especially over-policing. That affects a lot of people.
Do you think the people of Leon Valley will take back their city today? Let us know in the comments. Wait, hold on. A few weeks ago, authoritarian Republican Governor Greg Abbott unilaterally canceled democracy and advocated for local governments to cancel their elections. Dictator Abbott, who has failed to take a stand for any advancement of individual liberty while in office, issued this executive order to cancel elections in Texas. As an aside, I want to explain something to y'all. If you live in Texas, or maybe you watch the Texas news, you might be thinking, wow, how is it so easy for Greg Abbott to simply just blow off all these jobs, the economy, where a lot of people are hurting? Why is it just like no big deal for them? Let me provide some context. So Greg Abbott, he's an attorney, of course, and so he was injured several decades ago, and he has a settlement agreement, and he makes $15,000 a month off of this settlement agreement. And this has been going on for decades. For decades, Greg Abbott hasn't had to worry about where his next meal's coming from. He has a settlement that not only provides that monthly payment, but every few years he gets around $400,000, about $500,000 maybe. In 2020, he's actually due for $750,000. So you wonder, why You know, it seems like the governors just has no concept to our situation that, yeah, most of us have to keep working. For decades, Greg Abbott's had it made. Not only does he get this money, he doesn't even have to report it to the IRS. And I guess for this video, we'll assume that this is valid and legal and all that stuff. Apparently that executive order wasn't enough to get local governments to cancel their elections, so they had the Secretary of State's Director of Elections, Keith Ingram, send out communications to the local governments to scare them into canceling their elections.
Now let me talk about 4. Discussion and possible action regarding the May 2nd election being held as per Jackie Callahan's communication to suburban mayors on March 20th. When she and I talked yesterday, she said things are moving at a lightning warp speed pace. And now, because of the shelter in place, that affects the May 2nd election. My understanding is, I wrote that down, so let me make sure I get this right. That we could possibly be sued if we had the election because a voter we can put voters at risk of criminal penalty for leaving their home to vote, which I hadn't ever heard of before. And my comment was, well, we can leave our home to go grocery shopping, but we can't leave our home to go voting. But anyway, I don't understand it all, but I certainly do trust and believe Ms. Callahan when she said, you know, I wouldn't recommend that you put this on for the 2nd because of that possibility. And I mean, we don't need any more lawsuits in Leon Valley, that's for sure. Is that a phone call?
Our city attorney.
Okay, very good.
Did we lose you, Libby?
I can't get in. I'm suggesting that on 4B. Okay, I'm sorry. I was trying to get the mayor's attention. Mayor, if I may.
Oh, you
I
bet.
would request
I don't see you, but now
Can you all
I hear
hear me?
you. I hear you now,
Yeah.
loud and clear.
Okay, Mayor, I would request for items 4, 4B, and item 6 that we go into executive session under 551.071, consultation with attorney, to discuss a matter that, under my rules of professional responsibility, I need to provide you legal advice confidentially, and also matters that might entail future litigation.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we accept regular agenda item 7.5 as written.
I'll second.
Okay, let me, just so people know what we're doing here, 7.5, we have a motion by Councilor Hody and a second by Councilor Alcacer. I'm sorry, Rodriguez. Yes, ma'am. My apologies. And this is what they're proposing to be voted upon. Discussion and possible action on a resolution of the City Council of the City of Leon Valley postponing the election to be held the 2nd day of May for the general election, place 2 for in the mayor, special election on amendment city charter, and special election on the question to recall to November the 3rd, 2020. And then we have all of the severability clause and whatnot. So that's what the motion and second is pertaining to. Just want to make sure everybody is on the same page. Any further discussion?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I understand the need for public safety at this time, especially, but I do not agree with moving the election to November 3rd, extending people's terms by 6 months. We have the means to have election. Whenever we go to the polling site, there's usually only 1 or 2 people voting, and we have the means to contain this, where people can vote and be spaced out and not gather large crowds. It would just be like going, like now to the grocery store, or people are lining up to go through drive-through or carry out to get food. I don't see a need to postpone the election to November.
Okay, and so you're for keeping it for May the 2nd?
Correct.
Ms. Postley, if you'll please call the roll.
Counselor Charles?
Will you tell me what the motion and discussion on?
Ms. Charles, the motion is that we postpone the May 2nd, 2020 election and move it due to the health, safety, and welfare of the situation that we're in right now to the November 3rd general election. That was the gist of the motion and the second. So that's what you're voting on.
Then I say yes.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Catherine Rodriguez?
Yes.
Counselor Monica Alcacer?
Is that including I still am not clear if that's including everything.
Well, the actual item number 7.5 includes all three elections. So we've got the general election and two special elections.
I have that under 7.6. Is that what we're voting on?
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. We have an issue with the numbering. Okay, so 7.6. Yes, ma'am. We're voting on that one, and it's all inclusive.
Yes, I'm in favor.
Okay.
Counselor Matthew Hody?
Yes.
And Counselor William Bradshaw? Will Bradshaw.
No.
Okay, the motion carries 4 ayes and 1 nay. Okay, thank you.
There you have it. Democracy canceled in Leon Valley. 6 more months of shaking down businesses, terrorizing residents, attacking activists, and extorting out-of-town drivers.
Left to me, I would think that a lot of these things that that were allowed by the county would probably have been not exempt. But the reality is they did exempt them, and there's a lot of things that you can go out for, and so it's one of those things that police are not going to be able to enforce whether you're on the streets. It's not a lockdown or anything like that. We're not asking for notes. I put that out last night or the night before to dispel that rumor. And so we're not trying to turn this into a Nazi state or anything like that because of people, playing volleyball. There was a 10-on-10 volleyball tournament going on in our park the other day, and we had to go over and stop them. So if I had it my way, there would be additional ones on the HEB because just like we said at the beginning, they were not practicing social distancing until we went over there, not threatening. There's nobody threatening anybody, and explained to them just like Walgreens. Walgreens wanted to be a grocery store. QT wanted to be a grocery store. Valero wanted to be a grocery store. Everybody wanted to be a grocery store. We didn't have a definition for a grocery store, and we didn't have a definition for convenience store. And so these are the things that we're trying to fix here. Not because the police did it, not because we're trying to be heavy-handed or Gestapo or all the other things that is being said. It's because we're trying to do our job and enforce the policies that y'all put in place. So tonight is about changing those policies so that we can allow people to have more people in their space as long as they're demonstrating that they're keeping people at the proper physical distance.
So let me ask you this. If we pass tonight's ordinance, are we going to tell Dollar General and the Dollar Tree and these other stores, Walgreens, that they don't have to count how many people come in the store now?
No,
and only allow 10 people in at a time?
So all the stores are responsible for enforcing whatever laws we put in place. If they're not enforcing it, then yes, they can get themselves in trouble. So do we want to give them citations? Absolutely not. But do they need to enforce it? Absolutely. That's a responsibility on their part to be responsible partners in making sure that we are not doing things that we're not supposed to do. It's not that are we going to go talk to them? We've been talking to them. We've been having conversations with them. If you listen to me at the beginning, I said I've talked to I don't know how many corporate offices up till now to explain exactly what we want to do, and exactly they're all waiting on this vote tonight. I wish it was sooner, but it hasn't been. They all know about this plan. They're all ready to call in tomorrow morning and say, I'm ready for my inspection. So to sit here and say that they're all in fear is ludicrous. Maybe that's what they told you.
I've talked to them
excuse
myself,
me.
and I received emails also that
Okay.
says, I understand the Leon Valley Police is strictly enforcing the no more than 10 customers per store at one time rule. And I also heard that the police came by 5 times in one day to check on them, and also say that they might send somebody in plain clothes to find out if they're following the rules. That sounds intimidating to me.
Okay.
That sounds like Gestapo tactics to me, Chief.
Chief, I have a question.
Wow.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, but I have a question. As
So you don't want the reputation of being a Gestapo, then quit being a Gestapo.
Mayor,
Okay.
I'm going to be attacked?
No.
This is okay.
I'm going to ask for a point of order.
This is okay.
Thank you. Ridiculous.
Yeah, this is, kind of all over the map. Okay, Mr. Bradshaw, I'm going to ask Ms. Rodriguez to please ask her question, and Chief was feeling like he was being attacked, and so if you could just rephrase your question or your comments, I'd appreciate that. Thank you. All right, Ms. Rodriguez.
Mayor, my concern is, just like Mr. Bradshaw, there's still, 4 other counselors? Why is it that, and this is where I'm confused, why is it that only he gets this information of threats or Gestapo tactics or Nazi state or whatever? There's 4 others of us. Why are we not getting the same type of information, or why are we being kept in the dark by these store owners that are supposedly saying that the police are harassing them or intimidating them?
I don't know. Let me ask Mr. Bradshaw. Mr.
I'd like to
Bradshaw?
know what stores.
Yeah, Mr. Bradshaw, can you answer that? Did you go by these stores, or did they contact you? I
don't know why
They didn't
choose to talk
contact
to me or email me, but it's probably because I talked to the business owners and to the citizens.
So does that mean then the rest of us don't, or we don't shop in our own city? Or, because I'm very confused.
I can't answer what you do or do not do.
Yeah.
Well, I can answer this, sir. I really appreciate you letting me know my guys are out there. My guys are in contact with these store owners, and my guys are working very hard for you and this entire community. I do appreciate you letting me know that. And if you would like to forward over any of those emails, or if you would like to give me the businesses, I will personally go have a conversation with them and make sure that they understand this is not us picking on them or anybody else, which we got at the beginning, and let them understand that we are all trying to enforce the laws as they are written. Are they written perfectly in the first time? Absolutely not. Are we trying to make adjustments based on the guys going out there and trying to enforce the rules that you, Councilor Bradshaw, and the rest of this council did? That's what we're doing. So give us the ability, without the attacks, give us the support, and allow us to go out there to those businesses and work closely with those businesses and give them the leeway that you're actually saying that we're going to talk about if I can get through the rest of this presentation.
Okay.
Chief, this is not the rules that we passed. If you ask Mr. Urquhart, you're enforcing something that is not in the rule by not allowing more than 10 people into retail establishments, and that is my issue. And I do not want to make it more strict. I don't want to make it difficult for businesses to operate. And I will ask them if they want me to forward the emails, because honestly, I feel like they are fearful of the police in Leon Valley. So I don't know if they want their names out there.
And Councilor Bradshaw, let me say that the constant argument that the citizens are in fear of the police is really disheartening to those officers that are out there working their rears off for you guys. It's not appropriate to levy that.
Starting tomorrow, Will Bradshaw will be the only legitimately elected city official serving an original term. Everyone must start explaining to family, friends, neighbors, coworkers the principles of individual liberty and accountable government. Right now, government officials think they can do anything they want. Actually, they are doing anything they want, including canceling elections so they can stay in power longer. I hope you will join me in taking action to put the power to the people.